I would like to be very clear. The only reason why Ukrainian culture heritage right now at great risk is the invasion of Russia. Here are statistical damages from our Ministry of Culture. UNESCO is receiving and verifying information regarding destruction. There are temporary differences between the data of the Ukrainian Ministry of Culture and UNESCO due to the long verification process. This map liberated territory, Kiev region, part of northern, central, and eastern parts are marked here in blue. Still occupied territories are marked with two colors. Light pink is occupied this year. Dark pink is occupied in 2014, partly Donetsk, Luhansk, and Crimea. The cultural heritage was destroyed and looted by Russians. Such policy addressing Ukrainian cultural heritage is not a new practice at all. Russia has used it since 2014 following the annexation of Crimea and the partial occupation of the Donetsk and Luhansk region. Since 2014, cultural heritage has been removed from the Crimean museums. Pieces of art and archaeological objects have been transferred to Russian museums. And the Ukrainian cultural heritage red list is exceptional. It's emergency red list, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the 8th of its kind. However, this is first time that the red list is prepared not after the war has ended, but during it. Furthermore, it was created in a really concise period of time. Therefore, our experience as whole may not be relevant to everyone, and personally, I sincerely hope that such an experience will not continue in the 21st century. And I hope this will be the final emergency red list created throughout the war. On the other hand, there are several points there that are shared by everyone who produced a red list under all circumstances. Sure, red list for Ukrainian heritage is based on three primary principles: cultural heritage at risk, protected by national and international legislation, and the black market demanded. Obviously, as in the other cases developing the red list, we also had huge difficulty picking typical samples of item. But we obviously had selection criteria, both general for everyone and quite unique. In particular, our focus was on museum collection in the temporarily occupied territories, what was stored there, and what had already been taken away by the Russians with the support of their military. This is the Museum of Mariupol and Melitopol, collections of Kherson's art museum, and local history museum with 5 branches, and Kakhovka museum. It's also Kherson region. And I would like to stress that cultural heritage looting is not an accident. It's a purposeful policy of the Russian Federation. The signing on September of the criminal agreement on the annexation of the 4 Ukrainian regions, Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia, by the RF's presidents, which was approved by State Duma of Russia, is a public affirmation of the existence of such a policy. As a result, following the signing of this document, the Russian experts began to publish estimates of how much the Russian Federation Museum Fund will be enriched at the cost of the art museums of Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson regions. And in this case, for Russian professionals, the monetary equivalent is more important than culture value. According to information from Crimean Institute for Strategic Studies, we can wait for so-called evacuation process very soon. Also, in preparation our red list, we took into account what was voted in March in the central part of Ukraine, as well what was in demand among Russian museums in the collection of Crimean museums since 2014 and until now. The next point of our red list preparation is a rich, complex and complicated history of Ukraine. Other countries which made up red list before were clearly faced with a similar issue. At the same time, some heritage is extremely important and significant exactly for citizens of Ukraine, such as artifacts from the turbulent 20th and 21st centuries, but the Russian invaders destroyed such testimonies to our identity. And here we have no tools right now to fight it. The next point is our national diversity. Ukraine is a big multicultural and multi-ethnic country, and this was also reflected in the Ukrainian red list. In particular, the Ukrainian red list presents subjects from the three main faiths whose communities live in Ukraine: Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. Ukrainian red list also present items from different ethnic groups. Ukrainians are the main and autochthonous indigenous population of Ukraine and the largest ethnic community on its territory. At the same time, indigenous peoples in Ukraine have traditionally included the Crimean Tatars, Karims, and Krimchaks. This status is determined by legislation. But their homeland Crimea is currently occupied, and their heritage has been under several threats since 2014, as it's known. Also, those people don't have an ethnically connected states, as do other ethnic minorities in Ukraine. Thus, it's Ukraine's responsibility to save the Crimean Tatars' culture history, which I underline is also part of the global heritage. At the same time, it was important for us to display pieces of essentially Ukrainian culture, particularly folk and naive art.